After seeing the prices of the Galaxy S21 FE, many people have been confused that should they simply go ahead and buy this smartphone, or should they rather invest the same amount and get the Galaxy S21. Well, in this video, let's talk in detail about the Galaxy S21 FE and also compare it with the Galaxy S21 so that you can decide which phone is a better pick for your money. But before we go ahead, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. Let's get started. The retail price of the Galaxy S21 FE is 54,999 rupees and 58,999 rupees respectively for the 128GB and 256GB storage options, with the RAM being 8GB standard on both variants. Add in the HDFC Bank card offer and the starting price goes down to 49,999 rupees and 54,999 rupees respectively. Now, considering the Galaxy S21 is a year-old phone, it starts at about 5,000 rupees more than the S21 FE depending on where you get the phone from. And also, with the S21 left with only 2 more major Android updates to go, isn't it just better to buy the Galaxy S21 FE, since this phone is a slightly cheaper option than the Galaxy S21 and it is also up for receiving all of its major Android versions, that is Android 13, 14 and 15. But software aside, there's also a Galaxy S22 launch looming around the horizon, which means that the Galaxy S21 will most likely be discontinued and the launch pricing of the Galaxy S22 will make the S21 FE look enticing. With all that said, if you're looking to buy a phone for about 50 to 55,000 rupees, particularly a Samsung smartphone, then I firmly believe that you should consider the Galaxy S21 FE over the Galaxy S21, no matter what deals you are getting right now. Let me elaborate. Design and build wise, both the Galaxy S21 FE and the Galaxy S21 are made on similar lines, metal frame and a polycarbonate back. Of course, the main difference here is that the S21 FE is slightly wider and taller than the S21. The camera bump is also less pronounced on the S21 FE, and the good thing is that the color of the camera module blends with the phone's color, something which we don't see on the S21. Additionally, while some might prefer the glossy aluminium rail on the S21, I mean it definitely looks and feels premium, I personally like the matte aluminium rail on the Galaxy S21 FE. Apart from this, at the front, both phones have the same dynamic AMOLED 2X displays, a 6.2-inch screen on the S21 and a 6.4-inch screen on the S21 FE. The Galaxy S21 does have the variable refresh rate option here, which does help with the battery life, while the S21 FE can either do 60Hz or 120Hz refresh rate. However, the S21 FE with a 120Hz refresh rate is still better when it comes to endurance, simply because of the larger 4500 mAh battery under the hood versus the 4000 mAh cell inside the Galaxy S21. I recently did a battery drain test video where I compared the Galaxy S21 FE with the Galaxy S21 and its predecessor, the Galaxy S20 FE. So for those interested in that video, you can hit the card above, but of course, please finish watching this video first. So when it comes to the battery endurance, the Galaxy S21 FE will easily be able to last you 1 day pretty comfortably with medium to heavy usage and with about 5 to 6 hours of screen on time depending on your mileage. I mean, with light use, you can even use this phone for about 2 days on a single charge, not to mention that the overnight standby times on this phone are good. On the downside, both phones do not get charging bricks in the box, which is a bummer. Apart from this, both phones are a treat for media consumption. Both get stereo speakers, Dolby Audio. The display up front is drop dead gorgeous to look at. It's bright, punchy and vivid, and I have no issues with them at all. I did feel though that the S21's display is just a teeny bit brighter than that of the S21 FE. That is in the real world, but again, that's a negligible difference. Additionally, I would also point out the fact that because of the slightly larger panel on the S21 FE, I do feel that many people would find the Galaxy S21 FE's display more immersive. One more difference between both phones where I will give the S21 a clear edge is that it employs an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor versus the optical fingerprint sensor on the S21 FE for authentication. Not only is the ultrasonic sensor more secure, but it also unlocks the S21 faster when compared to the speed of the S21 FE and its optical sensor. Moving on, both phones pack the same Exynos 2100 chipset under the hood. And first and foremost, let me tell you that in my usage, the S21 FE did not have any issues with thermal management. I know it's winter right now, and in the past also I have read on many forums where the people have complained that the Exynos 2100 chipset was heating in their phones. For me, I have tested the chipset on the S21 FE and it works absolutely fine. For that matter, I've rigorously tested this chipset on the S21 Ultra as well last year, and I used that phone straight for 4 to 5 months as my primary device, and I did not have any issues regarding thermal management on that phone as well. So Exynos 2100 works pretty fine on the S21 FE, no problems at all. So thermals are kept pretty much in check even when you are putting a heavy load on the phone. And speaking of putting load, the S21 FE flies through your daily usual tasks. I did not encounter any frame drops or lags while using the phone. Folks who are into gaming would also be glad to know that the phone is able to handle even the heaviest of titles out there. However, if you're a hardcore gamer, say you normally play a BGMI or a Call of Duty for over an hour at stretches, in those cases you might see a throttle in performance, possibly resulting in a few frame drops here and there while gaming. For such people, I would suggest getting a dedicated gaming phone with advanced cooling systems. For all else, for regular gamers like you and me, this phone is perfectly fine, which means regular sessions of 30 minutes or even an hour at a stretch shouldn't be a problem at all. Apart from this, both of my Galaxy S21s run One UI 4 atop Android 12. The Galaxy S21 FE came with Android 12 out of the box. It is also the first phone to come out with the latest version, while the Galaxy S21 just recently received the One UI 4 update. So One UI is One UI, it's getting better with each version. Of course, the skin is loaded to the brim, especially if you go to advanced features. You'll find a bunch of useful features. One of my favorite features is the ability to force split screen mode in all apps. Yes, this makes an app like Netflix run in split screen mode. You also get Material You theming options in the wallpaper and style settings. It's also good to see that you get Samsung DeX on this phone. I also didn't get any spam notifications. The bloatware apps were a bare minimum, but lots of duplicate apps, and anyway, most of them can be uninstalled, so that is good. And overall, One UI feels polished and streamlined, and as I said, it is getting better with each version. In terms of connectivity and network reception, you get 5G, there is 4G carrier aggregation, 5 GHz Wi-Fi and NFC. I tested the Galaxy S21 FE on the Jio 4G network. Calls sounded loud and natural in the phone's earpiece. I also didn't come across any call drops, and this time around the Fan Edition phone gets a real proximity sensor and it works flawlessly. Let's talk about the camera now. So there are 3 lenses at the rear, a 12 megapixel primary, a 12 megapixel ultra wide and an 8 megapixel telephoto camera capable of 3x optical zoom. At the front, there's a 32 megapixel camera for selfies. The camera setup is nearly identical on the Galaxy S21 FE and the Galaxy S21, apart from the telephoto lens on both these phones. That is, you get a 64 megapixel telephoto lens on the Galaxy S21 versus the 8 megapixel telephoto lens that you see on the Galaxy S21 FE. With that said, it is not a surprise that both phones churn out nearly identical photos. I mean, the Galaxy S21 was already an established phone when it came to taking photos and videos, and the S21 FE is no less. Be it the primary camera or the ultra wide angle camera, it was very hard for me to find any significant difference between the output of both phones. Now, while the telephoto lens is different on both phones, you can still expect a similar kind of performance here as well. In fact, in some cases, I actually preferred the shots taken from the S21 FE's telephoto lens over the S21's. What do you guys think? Of course, given good light, the Galaxy S21 FE takes some really great pictures that look rich in color, sometimes oversaturated, but they look punchy and good, so I don't mind them. The dynamic range in shots is also on point. However, while clicking human subjects, I did find my skin tone to have a slight reddish hue. It isn't as pronounced and can be fixed with some light photo editing. Apart from this, the S21 FE is also a capable shooter in not the best of lighting situations as well. Given there's a decent enough artificial light source around, expect the phone to take good photos even in low light scenarios. By the way, you can also use the 3x optical zoom to go real close to the subject to click some great macro shots. As for the front camera performance, the 16 megapixel camera on the S21 FE clicks some great selfies. The results look absolutely amazing when taken in good lighting conditions, and I am talking about both the normal selfies and portrait mode selfies. As for the ones taken in low light situations, well, the results were satisfactory, and this is the only area that I really felt could see some improvement. Now let me show you guys the video recording performance of this phone. So you can shoot up to 4K 60 FPS videos from the rear camera. In fact, this is one of the few phones that can shoot 4K 60 FPS from the front camera also. And in terms of output, again, I did not have any complaints, be it in terms of detail, color reproduction or dynamic range. Stabilization in videos is also on point, so you won't be disappointed there as well. So right now I'm shooting from the front camera of both the Galaxy S21 FE and the Galaxy S21 5G. This is the 4K 60 FPS sample, but what you might be seeing right now is the downscaled 1080p version. But to get an idea, this is what the quality looks like from both the phones. And while I can't make out much of a difference, what I can make out is that the Galaxy S21 FE's field of view is slightly wider, and I think so my skin tone also looks slightly better on the S21 FE, at least on the phone's screen. But apart from that, both of these phones record exceptional videos from the front camera. No doubt about that, you can't go wrong with either of them. And yeah, that's about it for the selfie video comparison. Let me know which one do you think so is better among the two, if you can make out the difference in the comments. Cheers. So circling back to what I said earlier, if you have a budget of around 50 to 55,000 rupees and you're looking to buy a good all-round smartphone with top-notch performance, and particularly if it has to be a Samsung smartphone, in that case you should definitely consider buying the Galaxy S21 FE. Over the Galaxy S21, I feel the design on the Galaxy S21 FE is definitely better, but focusing on more practical things, between the two phones, the S21 FE has a slightly larger display, a bigger battery, and of course better endurance, a year extra worth of Android updates, and the camera performance is very good on this phone and in line with the Galaxy S21. Additionally, in the longer run, I hope that this phone gets price cuts and offers, and then the Galaxy S21 FE will definitely be a phone to look out for, especially when the Galaxy S22 also starts selling side by side. And that was my review of the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. So guys, if you have any thoughts or queries regarding the Galaxy S21 FE 5G, feel free to drop your comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Mr. Phone. I'll catch you all in the very next one. Thank you for watching.